All right, welcome back, everybody. We start right now in Manhattan, where defendant and suspended lawyer Michael Avenatti is expected to continue cross-examination of his former client Stephanie Clifford, a.k.a. pornographic film actress Stormy Daniels. Prosecutors claim that Avenatti impersonated his client and stole $300,000 that was owed to her from publishers after helping her land a book contract. On Tuesday, only the second day of the trial, Mr. Avenatti gained approval to represent himself. Now, it's unclear how this is actually going to work if Avenatti decides to testify in his own defense. However, it gave him the ability to question his former client face-to-face in court. And we do anticipate to hear some updates from Law&Crime managing editor Adam Klasfeld at some point later on in the program as this intense battle continues. In the meantime, let's talk with Gene Rossi about this. So, Gene, as I've been following Adam Klasfeld's tweets on this, which is just absolutely incredible, it seems the cross-examination, I don't mean to laugh, but it seems the cross-examination today seemed to be he was really focusing on Daniel's new TV show where she talks to paranormal spirits. And what is the goal there? To really show that she can't be believed and she's a little out there and a little kooky?
I think she's from Louisiana, and speaking to dolls maybe be something that some people, not everybody, some people down there think is amusing. I don't know why he started off with this speaking to the dolls. By the way, she blurted out that the doll has an Instagram account, so I thought that was pretty clever.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, it's getting a little contentious. There was one point where he said to you, don't you think people, or do you think I'm entitled, or people are entitled to get paid for what they do? And she goes, I think you're very entitled. And she wasn't talking about the money.
Exactly. But I have a personal involvement with Mr. Avenatti. I represented Stormy Daniels' former attorney, another individual, in a matter involving Michael Cohen and the NDA with Stormy Daniels. And then I indirectly helped on a malpractice suit. And so I had several altercations with Mr. Avenatti in person and over the phone. And I can just say this, I am not shocked that he is in deep, deep doo-doo involving all these criminal charges, including the tax charges he's facing in California. For him to do this cross-examination, an attorney who represents himself as a fool for a client, I think Mr. Avenatti is violating that rule of thumb, that cardinal rule, and I don't think he's helping himself by handling his own case in the Southern District of New York. Bad move.
Well, you know what's interesting, Gene, is that when this trial began, I actually thought to myself, I'm surprised he's not representing himself. I actually would expect him to represent himself, even though he shouldn't. He really should have outside counsel. So when he made the decision to fire his counsel or remove them and allow him to jump in, I wasn't surprised. What I am confused about, and which maybe you could clarify, is I have to imagine he wants to take the stand and explain his side of the story in the Stormy Daniels book contract situation, that he didn't steal, he didn't commit identity theft, he didn't steal her identity. How can he represent himself and testify?
He has the right to do that under the Constitution. You have the right to counsel, Gideon versus Wainwright, of course. Right to a counsel. If you can't afford one, you could hire one. You also have the right, with limitations, to represent yourself. So I suspect Mr. Avenatti will take the stand, but there's one document that he can't get around. There, according to what I've read, there's a contract between him and Stormy Daniels where he agrees to only charge her $100. And that's what she said on the stand. And all this extra money under that contract, my understanding, all that extra money from a GoFundMe site, legal defense fund, that should go to her. And the book deal payments, my goodness gracious, they eviscerated Mr. Avenatti during the direct of Stormy Daniels by showing that he was allegedly lying to her when he was getting the book payments that should have gone directly to her. That's categorical, undisputable greed on the part of a lawyer. That's really damning.
Yeah, those are the types of cases which might be easier to prove. But just going back to this practically, Gene, if you represent yourself, how do you testify? Do you have, does co-counsel ask him pre-prepared questions? You can't ask yourself questions. Practically, how does it happen?
I'll tell you exactly. If you represent yourself, you can take the stand and if you got a judge that really wants to rein you in, that judge will make you state a question that can be objected to, and you will answer your own question. If I were the judge, and I've seen it, you ask a question of yourself and you answer it. I'm not going to let you get up here and just do a narrative and a speech like Edward Everett, the 2-hour speech before Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. You're going to do a question and answer. He asks himself the own question, because you got to have that for purposes of objections and the appeal.
Have you seen this happen? Does this happen often?
Yeah. No, it doesn't happen often when a person represents himself and then does testify. But I, in my experience, I've either seen it or heard a judge say, "I'm going to let you testify, Mr. Rossi, if you're representing yourself, but you're not going to get up there and give a speech like you're on the Senate floor doing a filibuster. You've got to ask." Yeah, go ahead.
It's funny because we've actually seen sometimes where there has been narratives that have been allowed. So I guess it's different courtroom to courtroom. I will ask you, though.
Yes.
The idea of him firing his counsel, removing them, do you think that was always his plan because he wanted to be face-to-face with Daniels herself and ultimately question her, Clifford herself, and ultimately question her? Or do you think that there was something, a really breakdown in the relationship, he really didn't like how his attorneys were handling the case?
I think 80% of it was Mr. Green. It was money. He didn't want to pay his attorneys. I'm speculating here, but it probably was money. Also, part of that 100% could be just personality. They weren't willing to go full bore against Stormy Daniels, and probably 5 to 10% of the equation in his decision was he's an egomaniac. He thinks he's the best lawyer who's ever lived, even better than Abe Lincoln. And he wants to show the jury he can try a case. This is ego-driven. He said to the judge he was going to do a 6-hour cross.
Yeah.
Come on.
Who does he think he is? John Lewin against Robert Durst? Not a chance. Not a chance. All right. Well, I could talk more about Michael Avenatti all day, but we can't. We're going to switch gears. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the upcoming Travis Reinking trial. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Dan Abrams with exciting news for all of our Law and Crime followers on YouTube. You can now get the live Law and Crime Network with YouTubeTV for all of your daily live trial coverage, legal news, expert analysis, and original true crime programs. Subscribe to YouTubeTV today and then locate Law and Crime in the channel guide. And for only $1.99 a month, you can add the network to your bundle. Watch Law and Crime every day with YouTubeTV. We put you in the jury box.